Ooh, Appletini. Wow, you can really taste the apples. Can we get 2 Appletinis, please?
Hey everybody, it's Brad. I am here with Gerald. Welcome back to Appletini Plus.
What's up, Bradley?
It has been a long time since we've done one of these.
What is this? I just kind of stumbled onto a stream. Where am I?
What are we doing? What are we talking about? Apple.
Holy God.
Apple what?
Yeah. Well, welcome everyone. Me and Bradley do this show once every 6 months. So here we are.
It's been longer from the last one.
That's right.
But, everybody should go back. Make sure you listen to the other episodes we have. It might take you, hour and a half.
That's the thing, is we're really thinking about the public because they get inundated with all this content.
Exactly.
So we're like, you know what? Let's scale it back a little bit. Let's release an episode every 9 months or so they have time to listen to it before the next one.
There you go.
So hopefully they listen to our Coda or whatever the hell we did a year ago. That's happened by now. And here's the next one, which not nearly as good as Coda, but we're going to be talking about Ghosted tonight.
Ghosted.
The new Apple TV original film.
Starring Chris Evans and Ana de Armas.
Do you say Anna or Anna? I say Anna.
I say it's probably Anna, but I always say Anna.
I say Ana de Armas, and you just said Ana de Armas. So I don't know. Didn't you? What did you say?
I said
it's Ana de Armas, right?
It's probably Ana de Armas, but I said Ana de Armas.
Well, very exotic when you say it the way you're saying it. I'm not sure where that comes from, but I could be wrong too, though. I have no idea.
Yours is probably better.
So why don't you give them a quick synopsis of what this movie's all about real quick?
Quick synopsis of Ghosted. Cole falls head over heels for enigmatic Sadie, but then makes the shocking discovery that she's a secret agent. Before they can decide on a second date, Cole and Sadie are swept away on an international adventure to save the world. We've never heard this plot before.
Sounds so good, doesn't it? Wow. So... Man, they really stepped out of the box to come up with this topic.
Oh, yeah. They did. You know how they always talk about AI writing scripts? I feel like that's what happened here.
I think it's going to come out that is the case. I feel like that did happen. This is definitely the first Chat GPT screenplay, I think. All right, well, we'll do spoilers in a little bit. We'll do non-spoiler right now, Brad, because this is fairly new. It's on Apple TV. Initial non-spoiler reaction to Ghosted. You go first.
Initial non-spoiler, this was a slog to get through. The chemistry was some of the worst I've ever seen in any movie ever. And everything in this film just seemed forced, from the jokes to the cameos to everything. It was just like, As you can see where this is going for me, I did not enjoy my time.
Yeah, we often agree on this show, the few episodes that we've done, and this is another one that we agree. I mean, it was, I actually had to watch this. It was partly for necessity because it was on a weekend day and my kids were home, so I kind of had to keep stopping it to feed them and, take care of them so they can live. I don't know. Something that we do as parents for some reason, but also, I'm kind of glad because I kind of had to take a break from this a few times, and I ended up watching it in like 3 or 4 segments to get through the whole 2 hours, which, by the way, it's way too long. It doesn't need to be 2 hours.
Oh, no.
For such a simple premise. And I agree, man. A slog to get through is the best way to describe it. It was just a chore to get through this. There were a couple redeeming scenes that I enjoyed, but 5 or 10 minutes out of 2 hours is not enough to save it. And what really kind of sucks about this too is when the poster came out, which by the way is equally horrendous.
The poster
was
is
also
awful.
probably created by ChatGPT. But when that came out and the trailer even, and like, Ana de Armas and Chris Evans, who I enjoy from Marvel and some other stuff. And like, I mean, we should like this, in theory, like
Absolutely.
It should be fun.
You got Chris
boring.
Evans, Ana de Armas. You have Adrian Brody as like the bad guy who's hamming it up, and like this should have been fun. Like, what was the movie that just came out with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum.
Oh yeah, Lost City.
Yes. Something
Mhm.
like
Yeah,
that.
was
Like
good.
that movie was just all out fun the whole way through. Then that's exactly what this should have been.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Lost City was much better than this.
Yeah.
Also with cameos too, by the way. So
Yes.
they kind of did the similar formula, which I don't want to spoil any cameos till we get to the spoiler part. But
No,
I don't know. I mean,
and this is
you
a
know, it's
formula
just-
that we have seen many times, something like Romancing the Stone and Lost City. And
yeah.
you can just keep naming them this.
Well, for me, I made a couple notes here, but for me, it was like a much, much worse version of Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yes.
Or Night and Day with Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, there's another one. Like this,
Like those
this
kinds
is a
of
script that
movies.
it's been done before. This is nothing new. They flip it more because usually it's the male is the secret agent or the other one, and they kind of flipped it a little bit. But
we should do not for the show or whatever, but just in general, we should do a experiment where we have Chat GPT write we tell it to do a version of Night and Day with the gender swaps, because then I feel like we might get something like this, like Ghosted.
we probably will. That's exactly
also
like we just said. That's probably what happened.
Yeah, I know. What's also very frustrating about this is the same director as Rocket Man. Can you believe that? Dexter Fletcher also directed Rocket Man with Taron Egerton that came out a few years ago. The Elton John biopic, which
was
I
a good
loved.
movie.
Visually stunning, great direction, great performances. This movie, I literally don't even know how that's possible that you go from Rocket Man to Ghosted. Like how, like that can't really be him, right? Like I feel like they're letting them use his name, but maybe he like got his nephew who's like 14 years old or whatever and wants to be a filmmaker.
Be like, hey,
I don't know.
I have this
is
thing
weird, man.
that someone sent me. They emailed me this thing. You want to make it for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I got these stars attached. All right, so for those who've never listened to the show, we don't really like fully go through, break down the movie. We do it a little bit differently. So first off, we're just going to talk a little bit about characters, some of our favorites, least favorites, who we want to hang out with, and go from there.
And this will be spoilery too. So we'll
yes,
going
absolutely.
forward, we'll just kind of talk freely about Ghosted and anything we want to say about it. So there may be spoilers for the rest of the episode.
Correct.
Character-wise, I didn't really like any of them. Actor-wise,
I liked one.
A lot of people involved, but who did you like?
I liked Edna, the woman at the little
Who?
the little farmer's market at the beginning that wanted to get high.
Flea market or whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
I liked her.
Yeah,
That was it.
I guess Adrian Brody is kind of like this mustache twirling villain, kind of animated villain, was okay, but even the way they wrote him towards the end of the movie, he was like weak, kind of.
Yeah, he was like hamming it up, and all I could think about was Johnny Depp and Mordecai, which is another terrible movie.
That's a good comparison, actually. I never thought of that. I mean, I kind of liked him, I guess, but I think I'm also a little blinded because I love Ana de Armas, but this was this was horrible. Like absolutely horrible performance, especially coming off of an Oscar nominated one from Blonde last year.
I just felt like they weren't, I don't know, not that I want to say they weren't trying, but they just kind of seemed like they just showed up on set and were just kind of going through some motions. Like,
yeah, they weren't. I don't think they were trying very hard.
Like Chris Evans is like your everyday guy. Just it didn't work the way they set him up.
I don't see Chris Evans working at a farmer's market. First of all,
no,
and being a farmhand for his parents too. By the way, which that was a weird side thing going on with the he'd still live with his parents. They owned a farm. The sister was still there, and she was also like in her mid-20s at least.
Yeah.
I'm like, why does everybody still live here? And why are they all just like,
well, and then you have his parents
encouraging him to go stalk this lady that they've never met before. Like, oh yeah, you should definitely go take your free plane ticket and go find her. Absolutely. That's something that should happen.
In his parents, dad played by Tate Donovan and mom played by Amy Sedaris.
Yeah.
And they were hamming it up. Like everybody, I felt like their time on set, it's like, we're just going to try to ham it up as much as we can.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, I don't know if this movie wanted to lean full comedy or like the action comedy, which they tried, but it didn't quite work. Or,
yeah, that's a good
I don't know.
point, actually. I think if maybe, not to be too critical, because this movie sucks, I'll just tell you. But I think if they had tried to be like to buy into it a little more from like a slapsticky comedic where it was like obviously like, you know, I'm trying to think of what a good comparison was, because the ones I mentioned earlier don't really do this, but I don't want to say like a parody film, but like almost like that, you know, where it's kind of like poking fun at those kinds of movies that we mentioned.
But
then it would have made a little better.
It would have if you would have known ahead of time that's what we're doing. When you're watching it, going, I mean,
what is this? Yeah,
no favorite characters. Me, I had Edna. I also liked Tim Blake Nelson's quick little cameo character. He was kind of funny, but other than that, I didn't like.
I like seeing him pop up too.
Least favorite characters. I wrote down most everyone in the film.
I mean, yeah, they're all so bad, man. Like, I'm trying to think. I mean, I have to like detach the actor from the character. You have Cole, played by Chris Evans, who I like. I mean, he's a well-revered actor. People love him. Captain America, man, you know, he's the dude. But like the way that this was written did him no favors because
nobody in this movie.
Well, that's true, but he's like this farmer's market like novice who lives in middle America, who going through a breakup or whatever, and kind of they try to write him as if he's kind of fumbling through life, which you don't look at Chris Evans and
he's kind of like initially. Like something that I could see Ben Stiller in this role, not Chris Evans.
Yeah, but then we get to overseas when he's with her and he finds out she's a spy, and like the second half of the film and all this shit's happening, and all of a sudden he can do all this fight choreography, and he's like fighting these dudes on the plane and like helping this like trained assassin spy take people out when the day before he was working at a farmer's market with his parents. I mean, if that was me, I'm not fighting anybody, bro. Like I'm like, you're fucked. Like Anna, you're beautiful, but I can't help you. Like, I don't know how to fight. I'm not going to let these guys with machine guns and knives get into a fight with me. You know what I mean? Just call me when you get back home if you make it. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. So that was like, it made me kind of hate him as a character because it was so unbelievable. At least on the flip side with Sadie, you know, she's a trained spy, but maybe she just wants to get away. You know, she just wants to go to the farmer's market and buy a plant that she can't take care of.
Yeah,
and at least that's somewhat believable that she would, you know, take a step back there. But I just really didn't buy Cole's character.
That whole like texting her 100 times and being like, "Oh, emojis don't count," and like. I was like, I just don't see Chris Evans being that guy.
No, I don't either.
Not at all.
I don't either. And I don't see any female being that girl that doesn't respond to Chris Evans after a couple texts.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, if Chris Evans, if you're listening and you text me 100 times, bro, I am coming to you. We will be together.
I will reply back 100 times and I'll be on my way.
Exactly. You'll be worried about how fast I reply. The dots won't even go away yet. I'll be texting you back. Oh my God, you're texting me.
And then the whole running joke with them, you know, when they're trying to bicker, get a room. If I heard get a room one more time, I was going to throw something through my TV.
And they kept mentioning the sexual tension.
And I was like, there is none because their chemistry is awful.
And I think they threw that in there because they were trying to like put that in our heads. And if you think about it, there should be. I mean, look at these two people. Yeah. It's like, you know, gold.
So with the characters, is there any of these characters, even though you don't like them, any of them that you would want to hang out with? I wrote down Edna because she'd know how to party.
That's good, actually. That's good. I mean, not really, man. Honestly, I mean, I would just say Sadie because she's Ana de Armas. So get to hang out with her and just be across the table from her for an hour wouldn't be a bad, you know, dinner. But
no.
I mean, none of these characters are redeemable. Even the cameos. Let's talk about the cameos a little bit. By the way, spoilers, of course, like we said. But
that will roll into some of my my scene discussion that we had as cameos. Like, I thought the cameos I wrote down. I thought they were funny for a minute, and then they seemed forced. Like,
absolutely,
especially when it was one after another. When it was who was the first one? When it was Anthony Mackie. and then John Cho, and then Sebastian Stan. I was like,
and then we get Ryan Reynolds later.
Yeah, and they just seemed hardcore forced in.
You know, all these folks. So Chris Evans had the Apple TV series that he did, which was actually pretty good, about his kid who is accused of murder, a high school kid, and he ends up, and he's like a lawyer. I can't remember what it's called, but I don't know if it got renewed or not. I think there was only one season. I actually watched it with my grandma last year, but it's pretty good. So he had the Apple TV project. So I'm wondering if he signed something to do that and was like, yeah, you know, I'll do this movie, but you got to let me get a few cameos in there. Because aren't all of the cameos attached to him in some way from previous films, or no?
I mean, you have obviously
Anthony Mackie and Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, the Marvel connection there.
What about John Cho? Did he do anything with him?
Not that I know of, but I honestly, not off the top of my head, I can't think of anything. And then, of course, you got Ryan Reynolds.
Deadpool.
You got more Marvel connections, and his cameo I thought was the worst one. I felt
John
like
Cho
it was
John Cho in one of the MCU TV shows, or no? Am I thinking of somebody else?
I don't think so.
I wonder if he had his Marvel connection too. I need to look that up.
But even, spoiler for Lost City, you have a cameo like Brad Pitt. That cameo worked and was great.
It was classic.
But these were just like, it's like they called him up and said, hey, you can show up for 10 minutes. We're going to shoot something. And then we'll,
right.
we'll move on. Like, they were just so bad.
It definitely seemed forced.
And I watch a lot of bad stuff, people. And this was way down there.
I mean, we're talking about the scenes. I mean, nothing really grabbed me. You know, I thought some of the fight choreography was good. I mean, it was well done. I mean, you got to give it up to those guys that do that. The stunt people, like the scene on the bus where she's driving backwards was
like that
cheesy,
whole bus scene should have been a great action comedy scene as they're, interacting back and forth during this fight and everything's happening. But it just, the fight was cool, but then the dialogue was just bad.
Right.
That AI couldn't write that dialogue very well.
I mean, it's just crazy because it's like these two actors alone, and I'm talking about just when they're together in a movie. We're talking about Knives Out. I mean, they should have that chemistry. And when I've seen them do like interviews together, they have a good banter and good chemistry. But I just felt like on the set of this movie or in the scenes of this movie that they just like didn't want to be there, and they were almost like had to be. And they were both, I don't know, I got that feeling.
They were both producers on the film too.
Yeah. Wow. Holy Lord. Yeah. So we're talking about scenes. I don't have anything to give you.
I don't have anything else just because I just thought it was bad. And
I mean,
Adrian Brody,
scenes I hated, but
well, I think we'd be talking about the whole movie then.
Exactly. Yeah. The Exorcist steps thing. What was that?
Oh yeah.
I mean, oh my God. I'm like,
trying to force in this like, oh, you've never seen The Exorcist being afraid, and it just kept going. And I'm like, this isn't working. You should rewrite this scene.
The dialogue with that, the dialogue with like taking care of the plant, and then your girl Edna's like, oh, there was so much sexual tension there.
Yeah.
She really wanted you, and then he like runs out to this stranger's car to like stop her in the parking lot. I mean, bruh, I know it's Chris Evans, but that's not good behavior for any male too.
No.
Wow.
And was there sexual tension there? And that first interaction, like that you would go chase after this girl? No,
not at all. All right. What's next on the to-do list? What else can we shit on?
Alternate endings. Are there any alternate endings? I think of an alternate movie.
Yeah, an
Not
alternate
this one.
universe where this doesn't exist would be great.
Rather than an alternate ending, like, it's one of those, like, they're going to end up together at the end anyways. Like, most of these movies, that's what happens. You see it coming.
Yeah, I kind of like the very end where she had the guy in the trunk. And then he was doing, like, his conference that he was at or whatever for his job.
And they're like, it stays in the car.
It takes place in D.C., so I kind of like that little 10-second thing or whatever where she had one of her captors in the trunk and then they just kind of go on their date night while he's in the trunk of the car. That was cool. But I don't know. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, like you said, they got to end up together, right? Either that or one of them's going to die or something, which would be a very dark way to go, but maybe that should have happened. I don't know.
I don't know what else we could have done with it. You know, he joins the CIA and they work together now. Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, I could do that. Or she quits, retires, and runs the farmer's market.
Yeah, they have their own little farmer thing.
Yeah.
That could have worked too.
Yeah, sure. Why not? It's like I said, it would be more believable to me that Ana de Armas would take a step down and work on a farm than for him to all of a sudden be a trained assassin.
True.
So,
yes, that definitely would.
I guess my alternate ending would be her being like, yeah, this life's too dangerous. I found the love of my life, so I'm not going to do the CIA anymore. I'm just going to work with you on the farm.
Yeah, he decided to travel and write his book. So he was doing his book.
Yeah, I know.
While she was
which is also
off killing people.
The whole thing just stinks, Brad. It just stinks. I don't like it.
Now we get to get to the fun part of it is how are we going to rate this movie? And we do a rating, what is it, out of 100?
I don't know. What do we do?
I think we do out of 100.
What did we do? I really don't remember. Did we do out of 100?
12 years ago when we did our last episode, so I think we did out of 100. How many cactuses out of 100 would you give this?
Oh, that's right. We throw a plot device in there. That's right. So how many cactuses would I have in my home? Not very many. I'll say I love Ana de Armas. I like Chris Evans. A couple of the action sequences were entertaining, but I mean, this is just not good. It's like one of the worst movies of the year. It will probably still be one of the worst movies of the year when the year comes to a close.
Immediately jumped on that list. We'll see what else we get the rest of the year.
I'll give it 23 out of 100.
23 out of 100. Well, just like you, like I did not enjoy my time with this, and everything was so forced. There were a couple times where maybe I got a chuckle here and there. I thought it was funny. There was some good action, like you said, but I landed with only a 13 out of 100.
Oh, wow. Wow. You hated it even worse than I did.
It's definitely
it's
down
also,
on my list.
As we wrap up, too, I'll just say it's also one of those movies that it's just so disappointing, too, because like I said, it should be at a minimum, it should be decent. Like at a minimum, you should just be like, all right, Chris Evans, Ana de Armas, the director of Rocket Man.
Middle of the road, TV, even of like, oh, you know what? I was entertained for 90 minutes. It should have been 90 minutes flat.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. I wonder what my score would have been had it. Because by the way, did you think this as you were watching it? That first like half hour or whatever before we get to quote unquote action was just so like boring.
Yes.
In my review on Letterboxd, I said it was like a Lifetime movie, and I'm really referring to that opening. Half really,
where she's talking to what you thought was her therapist, but it's like her boss on the phone, and then is what it ends up being, and then
she's shopping at a farmer's market. He's chopping logs on a farm. I'm like, what am I? What is this? The Hallmark Channel? What the fuck is this? I mean, it was so crazy, man. I'm just like, this is so weird. Like, it's like one of those Christmas movies on Hallmark where the cat gets lost in the tree, and the fucking fireman finds the cat. It's the lady's cat that lives 2 houses from down from him. He never knew. It's like a twist of fate.
That's what this could have been. Like. Yeah, this could have been that.
That actually sounds pretty good. Actually, that's a pretty good movie. I feel like Hallmark's done that though. 23 for me, 13 for Bradley. We're big Apple TV fans, but I don't know what they were thinking with this, and it's not great. If you love these actors and you love that kind of spy romance or whatever, then maybe throw it on. But my guess is you're not going to be able to make it through the whole thing.
Go watch like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, like we said.
Another one I liked was another one I really liked that I think is superior to this one is a movie called This Means War. Did you ever see that with Chris Pine and Reese Witherspoon?
That's a good one.
I really like that one too, where they're both spies kind of fighting over her. Yep. Tom Hardy, yeah. That one also has a pretty bad Rotten Tomato score, but I feel like that was a pretty good film where, I mean, I was entertained the whole time.
It was fun and quirky. Like this, when they're trying to be quippy, just wasn't. They're trying to like these quick little smart shots at each other, and I'm like, that didn't work. That didn't land. I have never wanted to be ghosted by anything as badly as I want to be ghosted by this film. I hope this film never reaches back out to me. I never want to see it pop up in my suggestions again. I'm going to put the poster on my wall, though, so that's going to happen. That'll be right behind me, the Ana de Armas, where she's pinning him down in an explosion or whatever. We should have known, like you said at the beginning, we should have known as soon as that artwork came out that what we were going to end up with.
Anything else we have to dissect for this? I can't remember what our notes are. I feel like this isn't a real movie though, so we're not doing a real.
No, that's kind of as we fumbled our way through this episode. That's where we're at.
Yeah, that's
We've
it.
come to the end. Hopefully,
What are we doing next?
I don't know what we're doing next.
What comes out in the fall of 2024? What are they releasing?
I mean, they have that new series. What is it? High Desert coming out soon.
You know, there is an Apple TV show that I really want to watch. Shrinking. I want to watch Shrinking with Harrison Ford. And yeah, I want to watch that one. I haven't watched that one yet. But anyway, they got a lot of stuff. We'll figure it out. Guys, thanks for listening. Me and Bradley are going to go try to erase Ghosted from our memories.
Well, just make sure you follow us on social media on Twitter at Appletini Plus, the plus spelled out.
Hit us up on Twitter.
Yeah, hopefully we'll be back soon with a new episode. Just watch, subscribe, and hopefully something hits your feed soon.
Yeah, we'll make it happen. All right, Bradley, I love you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Hopefully soon.
Bye.
All right. Good night.